aerial strikes in and of themselves will not result in regime change. There is the need for a nationwide organized resistance that could carry the fight to the IRGC. And I must also say that our position is very clear. We have always said that the solution to the Iranian crisis is neither war nor, of course, continuing engagement and appeasement, and that the right of the Iranian people to overthrow this regime and the right to use every means at their disposal to confront the IRGC must be recognized by the world community.
Well, President Trump has promised to keep striking the Iranian leadership for days to come. He's told the country's military and police to surrender or face certain death despite offers of talks from Tehran. The military operation began, as you know, over the weekend with the killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, on Saturday. And President Trump said that military mission would continue in full force until, I'm quoting here, all of our objectives are achieved. Well, one of those objectives is regime change. Donald Trump claimed 48 senior regime figures had been killed and that everything, I'm quoting again here, was ahead of schedule. Well, Ali Safavi is a member of Iran's parliament in exile, part of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, and joins us now speaking to us from Paris. Ali, good morning.
Good morning to you, Rosie. Thank you for having me on the show.
What's your response to Donald Trump saying, look, this is going to continue for days to come, this could be for weeks, it will continue until the military and police surrender or face certain death?
Well, of course, I can't speak for President Trump, but what I can say is, as Mrs. Rajavi, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, said, Khamenei's death marks the end of the religious fascism in Iran, the end of absolute rule of the cleric, and it is now time to establish freedom and sovereignty to the people of Iran. Accordingly, on Saturday, the NCRI, based on the 10-point plan of the council, 10-point plan of Mrs. Rajavi actually, announced the formation of a provisional government, which once in Iran will hold free and fair elections within 6 months of the regime's overthrow, toward electing a legislative national constituent assembly that would draft the constitution of the new republic. And Mrs. Rajavi also said that Iranians in January demonstrated to the world that they want a future based on a democratic republic that rejects both the mullah's tyranny and, of course, the Shah's dictatorship. So that's, I think, how we view the situation moving forward. And as we speak, of course, the resistance units affiliated with the main Iranian opposition, MEK, are very active in different cities of Iran. The rebellious youth have attacked several garrisons of the IRGC. They attacked the so-called office to carry out the orders of the Imam, meaning Khomeini, and are busy organizing and directing the Iranian people to raise their voice against the remnants of the Khamenei regime. Bear in mind that last Monday, a week ago, 250 fighters of the MEK launched a daring assault on Khamenei's compound. Unfortunately, 100 of them were either killed or arrested, but 150 withdrew safely to their bases in Tehran and elsewhere. And that goes to show that as we speak, there is a potent, organized, structured resistance within Iran, because from our point of view, aerial strikes in and of themselves will not result in regime change. There is the need for a nationwide organized resistance that could carry the fight to the IRGC. And I must also say that our position is very clear. We have always said that the solution to the Iranian crisis is neither war nor, of course, continuing engagement and appeasement, and that the right of the Iranian people to overthrow this regime and the right to use every means at their disposal to confront the IRGC must be recognized by the world community.
Are you seeing signs of a populist uprising?
Well, of course, when the country is under aerial bombardment, it would be, in some sense, very difficult to expect people to come into the streets in huge numbers. But there's no question that the Iranian people welcomed the elimination of Khamenei, as much as I'm sure they would have liked to punish him for the crimes that he committed against the Iranian people, including the massacre of 30,000 people during the 1988 mass killings of political prisoners, mostly from the MEK, and also, of course, the killing of tens of thousands of Iranians, young men and women, in the course of 4 nationwide uprisings in Iran since 2017, including, of course, the January uprising, in which thousands were killed. And according to the managing director of Behesht Zahra Cemetery, Iran's largest cemetery, 70% of those who were brought to that cemetery who had been killed during the January uprising had received the coup de grace shots from the IRGC. But I think, quite frankly, that the Iranian people are ready, they are determined, and interestingly, despite the mass slaughter, you did not see a feeling of grief and gloom among the population, among the families who lost their loved ones. The feeling was one of rage and resolve, which is why we saw in every major funeral procession in Iran, in different cities, those processions turned into anti-government protests, anti-government actions, with people chanting death to the dictator, death to Khamenei, and called for the overthrow of the regime. So clearly, I think, if anything, the mass slaughter of protesters has added to the resolve of the Iranian people to do everything in their power to overthrow this regime and bring democracy to Iran.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, Donald Trump, though, despite those words he's saying, you know, just face certain death unless the regime really is toppled, Trump says he's still open to talks with Iran. Are you optimistic, number one, that those talks would go ahead and that actually they would engineer an outcome that you and that President Trump would be supportive of?
Well, as to whether the talks will go ahead or not, one has to wait and see. I cannot answer a hypothetical. But if past is prologue, the experience of negotiating with this regime in search of a deal, whether it is about the nuclear program or about the missile program or the support for proxies inside Iran, that deal has been elusive. Back in 2022, when the NCRI exposed Iran's clandestine nuclear weapons program for the first time, the Troika, European Troika, Britain, France, and Germany engaged in endless talks, got nowhere. Then you had 6 Security Council resolutions. That didn't have any effect. Then you had the P5+1. They had the JCPOA, but that was a fatal deal to begin with, and it didn't stop Iran from enriching uranium. And then you had even the discussions between the Biden administration and the Iranian regime in Oman. That didn't get anywhere. And of course, the first round of talks between the Trump administration and the Iranian side didn't produce any result. And the second round, this latest round, also produced nothing. Why? Because for the Iranian regime, nuclear weapons program is a life insurance policy, and which explains why they have spent some $2 trillion, more than the cost of the Iran-Iraq war, to pursue this program. And of course, hundreds of millions of dollars more on the nuclear weapons on their missile program, and of course their support for the terrorist proxies across the region. So you have to remember, you are facing a regime which is entirely illegitimate inside Iran. It knows its days are numbered, and the only leverage it has before the international community, in a sense, preventing them from being firm and standing on the side of the Iranian people, is this nuclear weapons program. And we welcome if they give up the nuclear weapons program, but as I say, you have to base your judgment on facts and not on hope.
Ali, thank you very much. Member of Iran's Parliament in Exile, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, on what has been such an extraordinary weekend.